Hello, Chemistry 1411 class. This is Dr. Stephen Jones, your laboratory instructor. This is our first video as we cover the format for lab reports for eCampus. The first thing you have to know is that lab reports must be typed, no exceptions. Um, the, the reason why we're looking at doing a lab report for the graphing lab is because it's simple. Within this simple lab, you can provide the details that are needed and get an understanding of what I'm looking for in the lab report in something that's simple and short rather than trying to get an understanding of how to write a lab report with a more complex lab. So here you can make the mistakes and understand why you made the mistakes because graphing a straight line is something that you've done before. And if not, we have examples for you to use to help you in ensuring that you graph as you need to graph in this particular experiment. So the first thing you need to know is that the first page of your laboratory report is your title page. The title page consists of the name of the experiment. That should be the first line. The second line, you should have your name. After your name, you need the course number and section. The course number and section should be on the same line. And these all should be appropriately spaced on that first page. The second page begins your official lab report. You're going to give the name of the experiment again, and you're going to provide that on that first line. Do not center it. Let's justify it to the left with all the other headings that we're going to provide. So the first heading should be experiment and the name of the laboratory. The next heading should be purpose. And in the purpose, you just simply share with us why you believe that you're conducting this lab. Use one or two sentences. You don't have to go into great thought. Just simply provide us with a simple fact as to why you believe we're doing this lab. What is not in your report format document is the word hypothesis. This is something I'm adding. This is how you can get those additional points in the conclusion at the bottom of the page. The hypothesis is simply a prediction. This is where you have an opportunity to make a prediction as to what the end result will be of your experiment. And what we're talking about is not that I predict that this experiment is going to be a total failure. However, you're going to read the background that is within your laboratory kit or your laboratory exercise. And from the background and what is presented there, you should make a prediction as to the end result of your lab. Now, this is a prediction. A hypothesis will be proven right or wrong at the conclusion. But here in the purpose, you're just simply making a prediction. After your purpose / hypothesis is given, you need to list the various equipment that's going to be used. In this graphing lab, you're going to use graphing paper, pencil, then you're going to also use a computer and the Excel spreadsheet. That's all we need for the experiment. That should also be a heading that's justified to the left as well. So the first heading should be experiment, the next heading justified to the left should be purpose, and then there's equipment that also should be justified to the left with a colon. And then after that, you're going to place another heading, report, with a colon after it. The report is simply a way of you expressing to me what you have done in the lab. This should be written in complete sentences. It should be written in third person, which means you do not provide personal references. If you go to the bottom of your report sheet, you'll see an example of what's not acceptable and what is acceptable. The not acceptable sentence is the first one, which includes a personal reference of I that shouldn't be there. The acceptable reference does not include that personal reference. And then also note that this is given in past tense. So it must be a complete sentence, written in third person, which means no personal references, and it must be written in past tense. So here, your report for graphing the straight line. This should not be a 10 or 20 page report at max of how you're describing your lab. In this particular case, shouldn't take any more than a page or two to describe what you did in the report section of your lab. We need to be able to determine the accuracy of this particular lab by simply thinking, if an elementary school student was to able to read your report, would they be able to do it? If they have the equipment, no video, no explanation, just simply what you've written on paper. That's how much detail you need to be able to provide. And I think you should be able to do that using the knowledge that you already have on graphing a straight line. Also, you need to provide in the report, underneath the report, data. And what we're talking about are data tables. In the handout that was provided to you, there was data provided. But from all the data that was in those tables, you're supposed to pull out certain pieces of data that you have to include in a data table. In the videos that we have at the end of this document, we have an explanation of how to create a line graph using the traditional method, that's by hand, pencil and paper, and also using Excel. Now, in both the Excel as well as the traditional method, they have an example of how the data tables should be listed. So use that as a format of creating your data tables. That should be included in this data section. In the graphing lab, you don't have calculations, but there will be other labs that you will have to do some calculating. So all your calculations must be presented. We are not going to be looking for whether or not there's so much of a correct answer, as much as if you're using the correct method to get at the answer. In many cases, a simple mistake can be made, and we will take off a few points for the simple mistake. We will not count the whole problem or whole section wrong simply because of the fact you got the wrong answer. I'm looking at how you came about getting the answer rather than the answer itself. Also, the next portion is conclusion. Remember, I told you about the hypothesis. The hypothesis is essentially a prediction. In the conclusion, you determine whether or not your prediction was correct and provide evidence as to why it was correct or why it wasn't. And then give a short explanation of what you have gained from this experience. So again, the conclusion is defending or confirming your hypothesis or providing us the information as to why it was not correct, and then letting us know what you essentially learned from this experience. Again, there's extra credit that will be strictly objective based on the information that you provided. I'll add a couple of, well, can't give you too many points because the maximum number of points you can gain in a particular lab experience is 2.4 points. So we will provide you with some extra credit to give you some cushion in the event something goes wrong in the subsequent labs, or in that many cases you don't do too well on the comprehensive exam, or you just have extra points. But we will not exceed the total number of 29 points that we have allotted for this particular lab. Again, here are the videos that you can use in order to determine how to draw a line graph, and then also how to create one using Excel. We'll be using these video snapshots from time to time to help explain different concepts and issues that you have concern with. So if you have a question, just shoot me an email, let me know. We'll create a video to help give a deeper understanding of what you need in order to help you become successful in this class. So again, this is Dr. Stephen Jones, and we thank you for enrolling in this class, and we hope that this will be a great experience for you.